Good morning. Norman Cousins, in his book, The Healing Heart, tells a wonderful story about how one Saturday he was out playing golf. He was just getting through and he was coming back up to the clubhouse there at the country club. And when he was coming up, he saw that there was an ambulance. There was a man who was lying there on a stretcher. It turned out he had had a heart attack. Norman said you could see the paramedics. They were rushing all around, doing all the right and important things. And they were getting him on oxygen. They were hooking him up to an IV. They were putting all the monitors on him. They were making phone calls to the hospital and getting things prepared. Now, they were all very busy. The only thing that they weren't doing was talking to the man. Norman walked over and he looked at the monitor. And then he looked at this man who was just lying there. He was ashen. He was white. His eyes were closed. And so he went over and just stood beside the man and picked up his hand and held his hand. The man opened his eyes. He looked at Norman and Norman said, "I can tell you're going to be just fine." "Really? How do you know?" "Well, I can tell that your heartbeat is very strong. I'm watching the monitor. You have a good, strong heartbeat. And I can tell that you have a strong heart. You know, it's only going to be just a few minutes. These paramedics are taking care of you. They are wonderful. And in a few minutes, you're going to be rushed to the hospital, and there you're going to be in one of the finest hospitals in our country. And they're going to be very caring doctors who are going to be there to take care of you." Norman could look at the monitor, and what he really saw was that heart was just pounding. I mean, the pulse was so high, it was just pounding, and the heartbeat was rather erratic. But he held his hand just to say, "You're going to be fine." The man said, "Are you really sure?" Yes, I am sure. I can just tell. You have a good, strong heart." Well, now the man had his eyes open. He and Norman kept talking. He didn't close his eyes. And Norman said as we continued to talk, I could tell the heartbeat was slowing down. The pulse wasn't racing so much anymore. And the heartbeat even became regular. We continued to talk. The man sort of propped himself up on his arms now just to look around to see what all was going on around him. Finally, the paramedics were ready to take him on to the hospital. By now, his friends had gathered around there at the clubhouse. They had heard what had happened. And when they picked him up and they put him into the back of the ambulance, he was now smiling and waving to his friends, "I'll see you soon." And off they went to the hospital. And Norman said when they left, I got to thinking about how I have a doctor of theology, he said, not a doctor of medicine. But he said I didn't feel guilty about what I had done, because I could tell at that moment what that man needed, as much as he needed oxygen, was he needed an encouraging word. He just needed somebody to hold his hand. How many times do you see someone who really just needs a person to hold their hand, to give them an encouraging word? Whenever you choose to do that, you become the hands of God. Have a great day.